The global pandemic has made it difficult for families to get together, especially visits with older family members like grandparents or someone who has a life-threatening condition. But how do you explain this concept to younger children? So here's the solution. A man and his mom wrote a book. It's called Don't Touch Grandma. The picture book shows kids how to show grandma or grandpa some love without physical contact. What a pleasure it is now to go live to Ohio to talk to the authors of this book, Mike Walsh and Grandma Jan join us now. Mike, I want to ask you, did you ever think you would find yourself writing a book with your mom?
Well, I always hope to. She's a Fulbright scholar and is one of the smartest people in our family, probably the best writer of all, even though she claims to have not authored many books in her life.
Grandma Jan, how difficult has it been, as we're talking about the subject matter for this book, to not be around grandkiddos and not hug them? I know my parents and my in-laws are having the same struggles. For you personally, the inspiration behind this book had to be real.
I do miss the fact that I haven't hugged them since a year or so ago, and you can't make it up. My two youngest grandchildren are 4 and 5, and I have 16. And they come to the house and literally run in the backyard to play. And when they leave, they're feet apart. And I am falling apart.
You're looking great, though. They always come over, and my sister will tell them now, don't touch Grandma. And so the kids have been trained for that, and that's where the idea for the book came from.
Talk about the writing process to both of you. How was this process coming up with, which seems such an easy concept, but it is something that we definitely need in 2020?
Well, you know, I live in Chicago most of the time, and so I would call my mom to make sure she was still alive, because there's this virus going around killing all the old people. And during those conversations, we would sort of talk about and try to commiserate about the inhumanity of the response to the virus that's going around, and how people are just experiencing all of these troubled times, being isolated. And so we talked about that, and we would laugh about certain things, maybe a little bit darkly, and that's where it was all born of our conversations. We would talk about my sister dropping off bourbon and groceries for her to help her get through the day, or stories in the news about a grandma who ran out of beer, and I think Coors Light sent over a whole case of it to her. So there's a lot of stories like that happening, and that's where the writing process was born, just through these phone calls and trying to commiserate about everything that was going on.
Yeah, we just showed that page, Mike, about you can bring Grandma some beer, but don't touch her. Grandma Jan, have you been getting your six-packs?
No, I've been getting my bottles of bourbon. And it's, I don't like to ask anybody to do that for me, but it is amazing how they just show up when needed.
Well,
I never seem to run out, and somebody will pop in, and instead of a bouquet of flowers, it's a bottle of Jim Beam.
well, I tell you what, flowers are definitely needed for all the grandparents out there. Obviously, this is a book, very quickly, guys, for kiddos, but I'm sure it's going to have an effect on senior citizens as well, Mike. I mean, this is something that we are reminding people not only don't touch, but still be there and still be around them during this wild time in the world.
Very much so. My favorite page of the book is Marvel with her on the phone about the social distance. Think about her all alone maintaining social distance, and that makes my daughter cry when she thinks about it. We thought it was sort of wickedly funny in a dark way, but the reality is we need to reach out to those people and help them and make sure that they're being taken care of while they're alone.
Where can you get the book?
It's available exclusively on Amazon. Just search for Don't Touch Grandma, the book.
All right, Grandma, you are an inspiration to us all. Grandma Jan, thank you so much for being here, and I give you permission to poke Mike there for all the poking fun he may do at you, all right?
You get really humble when you have a family of boys.
I heard that, Mike. All right, guys, thank you so much. We appreciate you taking the time here on News Nation.